What is NATO? Sounds like a frame from Warframe to me. Don't blame my stupidity, I'm a product of the British education system.
Yeah, that's fair enough. He's British, we can't blame him too much. NATO, my favorite Warframe. Woo. Yeah, let's see. Oh, this is a great time for me to forget a bunch of Warframe names. We've got Zaku. We've got NATO. They're best friends. We've got Caliban. Not to be confused with Taliban. Oh, like American education is better. Listen, I am also a product of the American education system, but I also try and learn outside of that. So, I no longer have an excuse. Is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know. Man. That takes me back to when I had to move to where I am now. And some of my credits didn't carry over, so I ended up taking, like, the stupidest, like, most basic freshman classes as a senior. I was taking, like, the basic world history course. Because, you know, at my old school, the AP European history course counted for world history, which, you know, I passed with flying colors. But at this new school, it didn't. And so they, like, made me take a world history course. And, oh my god, it made me so mad. Because it was so basic. It was actually so bland. Like, they would give the most basic summaries of the most basic events. Not to mention, like, in America, most of what you learn about is like, okay, we have Mesopotamia, then we have ancient Greece, and we have ancient Rome, and then it's like mostly Europe. Maybe a little bit of China and India thrown in here, like, just as a side note for a week. It's not world history. At least AP European history, you know, was European history. It was all about Europe. Like, it's explicitly not Asian history or whatever. But, like, man, they leave so much out. Not just from the other continents, but even from, like, the European history itself. I learned so much more from the AP Euro course than I did from the World History course about Europe. Like Robespierre and the whole French Revolution era, Napoleonic era, and stuff like that. I don't even think they mentioned Robespierre once in freaking world history. Among many other examples. Mansa Musa? I've only ever heard of him because of the internet. Never learned about that guy in school. Not to mention the entire, like, wars of independence in South America with Simón Bolívar. And that whole story, I had to learn about that from a freaking, like, what was it called? Biographics, or whatever that YouTube channel is called? After hearing about him in Civ 6, I had no clue who that guy was. From my freaking public school education. It's so bad. You have to learn post-education in the US because a lot of it is flat out wrong and misleading.
We don't talk about the Vikings here in UK education system. What do you mean the Vikings invaded England? Surely that didn't happen. Education system huffing copium.
Yeah. Like, a lot of the stuff we learn is just, like, US history. Which we can't even get that right sometimes. Like, depending on the state you live in, it might be, like, heavily biased. Oh, states' rights, as opposed to... Or when it comes to the Civil War, like, some states will teach you, like, oh, it was a war over states' rights. No, it was a war over slavery. Can't even get that right. And they make you learn it over and over again. Like, I learned about all that kind of US history stuff in middle school, and I learned about it again, like, you know, freshman year, and I learned about it again in, like, my junior year because they had me take that course again at the new school that I moved to, because the credit didn't carry over again. It makes me so mad. All that matters in America is American history. Insert equals sign. Yeah, it's like 50% American history, and then you have like 50%, or let's say 40%, European history. But that's European history spread across like 3 millennia, going back to the Romans. Or I guess more like 2 millennia then, at that point. And then you have like 10% of like, oh yeah, I guess China exists, and maybe Mesopotamia. Egypt is fun. They spend a lot of time on Egypt. Probably more time on Egypt than, like, other events in history. And as a history nerd, it all just makes me so sad. Yeah, Mansa Musa is the guy who allegedly destroyed the entire economy of Egypt by giving everyone gold. You would just pay for everything, like, super extravagantly with, like, big gold. Just gifts and stuff like that. Allegedly, he also refused to bow to the king of Egypt at the time, the king of Cairo, because he only bowed to God, and so like he refused to bow to the king, even though it was custom to bow to the king. I think eventually he got pressured into doing that, or something. I forget how the story ended, but yeah. He was a cool guy, and I never learned about him in school. Not to mention, like, you know, even stuff like the travesty that happened in the Congo with, like, the Belgians absolutely beating those guys. Or Nubia, or Ethiopia. Haile Selassie? Who's that? Who are the Ethiopian leaders? What even is an Ethiopia? Never heard of it.
I'm not done yet.
Did they learn that slaves built America and not Americans themselves? Again, it depends on the school you went to. Oh, let me get some rejuvenate here.
Uh-oh, double.
Yeah. It's all just one big travesty. You mean Mali? Yeah, Mali as well. Mansa Musa was the king of Mali. Previous guy before him, I think, tried to sail off and just, like, sailed away and never came back or something.
Wise move, healer.
Also, who are the
Together we'll
Olmecs,
rule this
and the
land.
Toltecs, and the Aztecs, and the Maya, and the Inca? We get a little bit of them. Not as much as I like. Which, that's like the biggest travesty in history of, like, of all. Is like, man, those cultures got absolutely brutalized beyond belief. And that really is, you know, that makes me sad. Everyone knows more about the U.S. than the actual citizens.
Torn to pieces.
You know, I know what you guys are talking about with some of the, like,
What are Native Americans? I only know my brothers and sisters from Alabama.
Me and my brothers and sisters and cousins, we're the real Native Americans here, because we were born in America, raised in America, we're the real ones here. Native Americans who? Montezuma? Sounds like a dumb name to me. But I know, like, some of those videos on the internet where, like, you'll have this smug reporter guy who will ask some basic questions, and then, you know, the Americans will get it wrong. I do have to wonder, for some of those videos, how many they actually cherry-picked. Because I know not every American is, like, that stupid. But I wonder, like, how many clips they got of people actually getting the answer right that they don't show. Because you know there have to be some. But I don't know, like, is it 20% of people, you know, getting it right? Is it 50%? I don't know. It is funny to watch, though. It's some good copium for people, too, because it makes them feel small. You know, they might actually be. Because at least they're not that dumb, right? Hello. What if I rooted you in place? Uh-oh. I almost went in the water. I feel like I'm gonna die. I think I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Rooting you first. Reparations and entitlements, anyone? Oh, yeah. Oh, is it 50 acres and a mule or something like that? That they didn't actually end up getting? Because, you know, there were still some people in the government who, like, weren't really that sympathetic. Well, that was a tumultuous time. Like,
Another
you know,
for the treasury.
Reconstruction. Frickin' Andrew Johnson, man. Frickin' Andrew Johnson. I feel bad being an Andrew, because, like, I look at the Andrews who have been presidents, and it's just like, okay, we have Andrew Jackson. Oh, Lord, the stuff he did to the frickin' Native Americans. That's a yikes. Okay, what about Andrew Johnson? Oh, that guy was horrible. And then, Andrew Garfield? Who? Who's that guy? Did he even do anything? No, he didn't. It's like, man. Andrews, they're not that great. I've got to bring more honor to the name Andrew. We got frickin' Andrew Tate. Let's make AndrewChicken the new popular Andrew. Better Andrew, hopefully.